You've done everything they told you to do, worked hard, set goals, chased success. But somehow, you still feel like something's missing. That quiet emptiness you carry, it's not because you're lost. It's because you've been looking in the wrong direction. Einstein didn't believe purpose was something you find. He believed it was something you become, and in this video, you're going to hear the truth no one ever told you. The real purpose of life isn't about you. And once you understand that, everything begins to make sense. And before we go any further, just take a breath. Feel that? That quiet space opening up inside you. The one that doesn't need answers right away. Just the right kind of question. If this already feels different from what you usually see out there, that's not an accident. This space was created for people like you. People who feel more than they say, who are tired of noise and ready for something real. So if your body's already leaning in, if your heart's already listening, you might as well click subscribe now and let the rest unfold in its own time. No pressure. Just a simple choice to keep coming home to yourself. You've been told your whole life to chase success. Get the job, make the money, prove your worth. And maybe, for a while, it feels like you're getting somewhere. But then comes the silence. That moment late at night when the noise dies down and you're alone with your thoughts. And you ask yourself, is this really it? Einstein once said, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value." And you know what he meant? Success is what the world claps for. Value is what your soul claps for. See, success is loud. It's numbers, trophies, titles. But value? Value is quiet. It's what you bring into a room when you walk in. It's the kindness no one sees, the patience you offer when someone else is falling apart, the calm you create just by being present. You could be famous and still feel empty. Or you could be invisible to the world and still carry a sense of deep, quiet purpose. Because it's not about what you get, it's about what you give. And here's the truth. If your purpose depends on applause, it will crumble in silence. But if your purpose comes from service, from meaning, from love, it becomes unshakable. So ask yourself, what am I trying to build? A life of attention or a life of intention? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt real? Peace, not comfort, not distraction, not temporary relief after checking off your to-do list. I'm talking about peace. That quiet feeling in your chest that says, I'm okay. I don't need more. I'm already here. Most people don't realize it, but their minds are constantly drowning in noise, in comparison, in the pressure to do more, be more, show more. Wake up. Check messages, emails, goals, podcasts, ads, deadlines, more. But Einstein saw through all of that. He once said, out of clutter, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony. He wasn't just talking about math or science. He was talking about life. He believed that behind the chaos of the universe, there was a deep, elegant order, a quiet rhythm underneath the noise. And if the universe itself follows that kind of wisdom, why shouldn't we? Here's something most people never stop to think about. Complexity is easy. Anyone can clutter their lives with more stuff, more goals, more opinions. But simplicity? That's brave. That's a decision. I want you to imagine something. You wake up tomorrow. No alarm, no rush. You breathe. You look around your room. You realize you don't need half the things on your calendar today. You cancel a meeting that doesn't matter. You let go of a goal that's not even yours, just something you inherited from fear. You sit quietly with your coffee. You feel the warmth in your hand. And for the first time in a long time, you don't feel behind. You don't feel late. You just, that's what Einstein meant. That from all the clutter, mental, emotional, even spiritual, we can return to something simpler, truer, whole. And maybe you've been told your whole life that being busy means being valuable. But deep down, you know better. You've met people who move slowly, speak softly, and yet their presence changes the room. They don't have to say much, because their peace speaks louder than their voice. Simplicity is not laziness. It's precision, it's focus, it's knowing that not everything deserves your energy. It's having the wisdom to say no, not just to others, but to your own endless hunger for control. You don't have to keep up with a world that's lost. You don't have to match the speed of people who don't even know where they're going. You're allowed to move differently, to live slowly, to walk the path that feels like home, even if no one claps for it. Einstein also said, "I live in that solitude which is painful in youth but delicious in the years of maturity." There's a peace that only comes when you're no longer afraid of quiet. A beauty that only reveals itself when you stop trying to chase everything. And here's the strange paradox. The moment you stop needing more is the moment you realize you already have enough. Not because your life is perfect, but because your heart is finally still enough to notice the perfection in small things. So maybe peace was never something to be found out there. Maybe peace was waiting for you, just beneath the noise. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spent years searching for his purpose. He read every book, listened to every podcast, tried meditation, journaling, coaching. He switched jobs, traveled, tried to build a business. He kept asking the same question over and over, "What am I here to do?" But the more he searched, the emptier he felt. Until one day, while walking home, he saw an old woman struggling to carry her groceries. Up a flight of stairs, he stopped, helped her. She smiled, touched his hand, and said, "Thank you. I really needed that today." It wasn't a big moment. It wasn't a breakthrough. But for the first time in a long time, his mind went quiet. There was no question, no doubt, just a soft feeling in his chest. Peace, presence, meaning. Sometimes, that's how purpose speaks. Not with fireworks, but with stillness. Einstein once said, "Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile." Think about that. In a world obsessed with my goals, my brand, my calling, he said the opposite. He believed that real purpose isn't something you get from the world. It's something you give to it. But no one tells you that, right? We're taught that purpose is about standing out, about being special. But maybe it's actually about disappearing into something larger than yourself. You see, there's a difference between chasing significance and creating significance. Chasing significance is exhausting. It's built on proving, performing, being seen. But creating significance? That's quiet. You don't even realize you're doing it half the time. It's when you listen to someone fully, even when you're tired. When you forgive before they ask. When you stay after the crowd leaves. When you see someone, really see them, in a world where everyone's looking at their phones. We often think purpose needs to be impressive, but it doesn't. It just needs to be real. Einstein understood something most people miss, that we're all connected. And when you help someone breathe easier, you breathe easier too. When you lift the weight from another person's shoulders, something inside you lifts with it. Why? Because service brings us back to our truest self. The part of us that's not afraid to care, to love, to give without asking anything in return. And here's something else he believed, though he rarely said it out loud. That our greatest contribution to the world may never be known. It may be the child you raised in silence, the friend you comforted during a breakdown, the stranger whose life changed because of a kind word you don't even remember saying. Purpose isn't always visible. Sometimes it's invisible, like gravity. But that doesn't make it any less powerful. So if you're still searching for purpose, maybe it's not something you'll find written in the stars. Maybe it's in the ordinary moments where you chose love over fear, presence over distraction, kindness over noise, You don't need a mission statement to make a difference. You just need a moment and the courage to show up fully in it. Because the truth is, the most meaningful things you'll ever do might not feel like much at all. They might look like helping someone carry their groceries. But inside, they carry the weight of the world. No one teaches us how to suffer. We're taught how to win, how to smile, how to plan for success. But when pain shows up, grief, failure, heartbreak, uncertainty, we're left in silence, trying to hold ourselves together while pretending everything's fine. But what if pain isn't a detour? What if pain is the path? Einstein once said, "Adversity introduces a man to himself." Think about that. The moments you've grown the most, they didn't come when things were easy, did they? They came when your world was falling apart. When you lost something or someone. When the floor beneath your life cracked wide open and you had no choice but to fall inward. Pain strips away the unnecessary. It humbles the ego. It makes you question everything you thought mattered. And slowly, gently, it reveals what truly does. You stop chasing applause. You stop proving things. You start listening, not just to others, but to yourself. Let me tell you something most people won't. If you're hurting right now, it doesn't mean you're lost. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're alive. Awake. It means the mask is falling off. And who you really are is being born through the cracks. You don't need to fix your pain. You need to let it teach you, because buried inside it, there's wisdom. There's a message your busy mind never had time to hear. Pain says, you were never in control. You're holding too tightly. Let go. Be here now.
You see, Einstein didn't run from difficulty. He listened to it when he was forced to flee Germany, when his ideas were ridiculed, when he lost loved ones. He turned pain into reflection, sorrow into insight, and most importantly, he never
let his suffering close his heart. That's the secret. Most people build walls after pain. But if you keep your heart open, even when it aches, you'll discover a kind of strength that can't be taken away. You'll become someone deeper, quieter, more compassionate. You'll stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to shape in me? Because sometimes, pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to break the shell that's kept your soul from breathing. You are not meant to go through life untouched. You're meant to feel it all. The joy, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the beauty. It's all part of your becoming. And no, it doesn't always make sense. But maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe meaning isn't something you find during pain. Maybe it's something you become after it. So if you're walking through darkness right now, just know this. You're not alone. The road is shaping you. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not even soon, you'll look back and realize the pain didn't ruin you. It revealed you. Most of us live like we're late. We wake up already behind, already running, chasing something we can't name. The perfect job, the perfect moment, the perfect version of ourselves. We think that once we get there, we'll finally feel on purpose, finally feel peace. But Einstein didn't see life that way. In fact, he saw time itself as an illusion. He once wrote, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." It sounds strange, even unsettling, but what he meant was this. We live as if life is a straight line, always moving forward, always slipping through our fingers. But what if it's not? What if your purpose isn't waiting for you in some distant future? What if it's right here, in the moment you keep rushing through? You see, time is the cage most people live in. They believe they're too young or too old, that it's too early to start or too late to change. They postpone their lives waiting for the right timing, the right sign, the right season. But purpose doesn't wait. It doesn't check the clock. Purpose lives in the now. It's in the conversation you almost didn't have, the kindness you almost withheld, The decision you've been putting off, waiting for the right time to be brave. And if you keep living for someday, you'll miss everything that's trying to unfold today. Einstein understood that time was flexible, relative. And what he saw in physics is also true in your soul. Moments stretch when you're present. They expand when you're aligned. And when you do something meaningful, even for just a few minutes, that small act becomes eternal. Because purpose is not measured in years. It's measured in depth. You could live 90 years and never touch the core of who you are. Or you could live one honest year, one raw, awake, intentional year, and change everything. We think legacy is built over decades, but sometimes it's built in a single decision, a single sentence, a single act of love that echoes longer than your name ever will. So don't wait. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait until the plan is perfect. Don't wait until your fear disappears. It won't. The only thing that matters is this. Are you showing up for what's in front of you, now? Because your purpose doesn't care about your calendar. It cares about your presence. And the more you practice being here, fully here, the more time stops running from you. It starts opening for you. You'll find yourself breathing differently, listening differently, no longer trying to squeeze meaning out of every hour, because you'll start realizing this moment is enough. This version of you is already holding something sacred. Purpose doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives when you stop trying to outpace your life and start letting it in. So, if you're waiting for the right time to begin, hear me clearly. This is it. So here we are. You've heard Einstein's words. You've walked through the quiet truths behind them about success, simplicity, service, suffering, and time. But maybe now you're wondering, okay, but what do I do with this? Let me ask you something gently. What if you're not as lost as you think? What if the ache in your chest isn't confusion, but invitation? What if the emptiness you feel sometimes isn't a lack of purpose, but a longing to return to it? See, people often assume that finding purpose will feel like fireworks or clarity, but more often it feels like quiet, like stillness after a storm, like breathing differently. Not because something outside you changed, but because something inside you softened. Maybe your mind's been loud lately. Too many voices, too many options, too much pressure to have it all figured out. But deep down, there's a part of you that already knows the truth. The real you, the part that isn't afraid, the part that isn't rushed. It's never stopped whispering. It says, slow down. Let go of what's not yours. Start where you are. Einstein didn't leave behind formulas for how to live. He left behind a way of seeing. He believed in the harmony underneath the chaos, in the invisible forces that guide everything, from stars to hearts. And if he could sit with you now, I don't think he'd tell you to become more successful. I think he'd say, become more present, more still, more open. Because once you stop trying to force your purpose, it has a strange way of finding you, not in a plan, not in a breakthrough, but in a moment that you didn't even know mattered, until it did. Practical exercise, 7 days of silent purpose. Here's something simple, quiet, invisible. For the next 7 days, choose one person, one moment, or one space to serve. Without telling anyone. No social media, no credit, no applause. It could be something small, leaving a voice message for someone who's struggling, cleaning up a space you didn't mess, writing a thank you letter, and never sending it. Letting someone go ahead of you in traffic or in line and without needing a nod. The only rule? Do it without needing to be seen. Then, at the end of each day, ask yourself just one question. How did that feel? Not, what did I achieve? Not, what did they think of me? But simply, what shifted in me when I gave without needing anything back? Because here's the secret Einstein knew, one that most of the world misses. When you give something pure, you don't lose energy, you receive it. When you pour into others from your center, Not to impress, not to prove, but just to love. Your own soul becomes fuller. This is purpose. And it's always been this simple. Maybe everything you've been chasing has been circling you all along, like a planet looking for its own sun. And maybe all this time you thought you needed a map. But what you really needed was stillness. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not missing your destiny. You are just learning how to be here. There's no secret door to meaning. There is only this moment, this breath, this choice, to return to yourself, to give without needing, to let life shape you, gently, honestly, like water shapes stone. You don't need to build a life the world will admire. Build a life your soul will recognize. Einstein believed that the universe was not just mathematical. It was compassionate. It was personal. It was made of mystery. And so are you. So today, stop chasing and start listening. Because when you finally stop asking, "What am I here to do?" you begin to hear the answer whisper back, "Be love, be presence, be light." And the rest will unfold. Oh, now that we've come all this way together, let me leave you with something simple. You don't have to figure it all out right now. But you do have to pay attention, because life doesn't shout. It whispers. It speaks in the small things, in the stranger who crosses your path, in the silence that visits you at night, in that one ordinary moment that somehow feels sacred. And if you're moving too fast, chasing too hard, trying too much to be someone, you might miss it. Everything we talked about today. Purpose, peace, presence. It only begins to make sense when you slow down enough to actually feel it. So if this touched something in you, something that's been quiet for a long time, then hit subscribe. Not just to follow a channel, but to stay close to the part of you that's still searching and starting to remember. Leave a like, not for me, but so this message finds someone else who's tired of just surviving. And if someone came to mind while you listened, share this with them. Because sometimes, all a person needs is the right sentence at the right time to remember that even when there's no clear path, there's still a direction. You're not lost. You're just arriving.